Live.
Whoa.
Welcome to episode 19 of Gunning Around. That's not my Western accent. I can't do it.
Jesus Christ.
I was going to do a Western accent. Okay, let's try this again. Welcome to episode 19 of Gunning Around, brought to you by EM Precision Rifles, specializing in custom precision long-range and extended long-range rifles, offering all services in-house, including machining, Cerakoting, and custom laser engraving. No need to find components yourself. EM Precision offers pricing through many vendors, carrying every component to get that dog barking. Yeah!
Jesus.
There you go. I just worked my way into it.
Wow. Hopefully Shane and Steve aren't listening.
Yeah.
You sons of bitches.
Find Shane and Steve on their website at emprifles.ca, as well as Facebook and Instagram as EM Precision Rifles. So there's that.
Oh,
hey guys.
Thank Christ that's over.
I know, right? Well, Rooster put in dog barking, so I'm like, oh, we got to talk like some Southerner. Dog barking.
Yeehaw.
Yeah. So our guest bailed. So
Yep.
we're going to just talk about some other cool stuff. Rooster's going to take over pretty quick. Speaking of, who are we? Well, I'm Sean. I work on things that make shit grow so you fuckers can eat. Grateful sons of bitches. I'm just kidding. I'm in a great mood, as you can tell. I'm also a CCFR field officer coordinator. Farm rights are human rights. I see John's got the shirt on too. That's awesome. Builder of Barbies for Men, which are AR-15s. I changed that up. And lover of bacon.
Ooh.
Yeah.
I saw you posting some really awesome bacon porn on the gram this week.
Well, I spent almost $600 fixing the oven, so I figured the first thing I do is load it to the tits with some pork and cook that shiznit.
For sure.
So
For sure.
Speaking of big sexy pork, John. I'm just kidding. That was a great segue, though.
So I'm a journeyman electrician and CCFR field officer, VP of the Regina Fishing Game League, Project Maple Seed IT, firearms business owner, and shameless plug for M14 Medic Firearms, sport shooter, hunter, and a certifiable rifle loony.
Is it really a shameless plug if you don't feel shame?
I haven't felt shame in like decades.
Yeah. So it is truly a shameless plug. Oh, great.
Well, hey, everybody. Along with Astronaut Cock and Snoopy the Fuck Dog, I'm really sure. Your friendly neighborhood asshole. Working construction management, I'm a hunter one-time permits, long-range rifle tool, a hand loader, and I currently hold the new position as a hair products monkey.
Show it. Come on.
Yeah.
No,
yeah.
I can't.
There's no monkey?
Well, they don't sponsor the show.
No, I am the monkey.
Oh, I get it.
Like since that whole Monkey Me Too movement thing took off, it's like there's openings everywhere, man. It's great.
Really?
Yeah. Earn a little extra dosh on the sides.
Oh.
Yeah.
Quaint. Yes.
Well, we'd love to hear your
guys know how
feedback
it's
about the show. Please visit us at www.facebook.com/gunningaround and leave a review. You can also email the show, or you can also give us a like on Facebook. That'd be kind of cool.
Yeah.
You can also email the show gunningaround@gmail.com or info@gunningaround.com, or you can find us on the website at gunningaround.com. We have links to all of our different socials and sponsors, and we have host bios and a whole bunch of stuff like that there. So by all means, come give us a visit and wiggle our beard here or something. I don't know.
Yeah, exactly. Hey, okay, I'm still hung up on Kurt's intro. Which one? Who is Astronaut Cock and who is Snoopy the Fuck Dog?
I can't reveal it that right now. Not on air. I think that's a discussion that needs to be had between the three of us in private first.
Oh, okay.
There is a hierarchy here.
We could probably record that and put it on the Patreon or something.
Ooh, we'll have to do that. Get down to hire a private investigator. Right on.
All right.
So we have some feedback or what?
Yeah, Flavio sent me another email. Do you guys want me to just read that? It's not very long.
Yeah, give her, bud.
Sure. So Flavio says, hey guys, the mics do sound better. I'm not terribly surprised about that. Just listened to episode 18 today and you made me laugh. Yes, you're correct. I'm doing lots of research on presses and powder and loads. There's lots of info out there. I'm trying not to go down that rabbit hole. Not planning. No kidding.
Let it go. Embrace.
I'm not planning on rolling other calibers, just the 45 Colt. So I figure if I get the Lee Classic loader, then that will keep me safe from going down that rabbit hole.
No.
Well, that's my hope anyway.
Yeah. No.
He's just going to get annoyed and realize he made a very small error and go back.
Flavio will wait to hear for you in about 12 to 14 months.
Yeah.
Is there a powder that works best for this caliber? Would the same powder be used in the rifle? Once again, thanks for all your help and advice, Flavio. So I'm going to answer it by saying W231 is probably a good one to start with for a powder. Unique is very versatile in other calibers as well. So is 231 for that matter, but you'll find more uses from Unique if you're planning on just using, you want to kind of streamline things a little bit. And you would use both those powders in both firearms. And if you're really scientific and experimenty, you'll find a load that works well in both. So then you only have to load one recipe instead of several. So yeah, good luck, Flavio. Let me know if you need any help.
Yeah.
If anybody else has questions about that kind of thing, by all means, feel free to hit us up.
Yeah, we can answer anything.
Wow, we can attempt. Yeah.
No guarantee.
If we don't know the answer, we know someone who does.
That's right. You just summed up my job in a sentence. If I don't know, I will find someone who does. Yes.
That's it.
Good deal.
Right on.
All right, everybody, check out the podcast on facebook.com/gunningaround. We post cool gun porn and share various news articles and stories relevant to firearms in Canada and around the world. The pod is available on Apple Podcasts app, Stitcher, and the YouTubes and shit and stuff. Where else?
These are the Google ones.
Google ones, yeah. There's a couple, right?
Google Podcasts, Google Play, Libsyn, like wherever you get your podcasts, we should be there. And if we're not there, let us know, and I will add more work to my plate and post it on there.
Yeah. Yeah, there's always the website.
Violins.
So you can actually download our podcast episodes and store them on the hard drive of whatever device you have directly from the website, I believe. So that's kind of cool.
Mm-hmm. Added bonus for the most annoying sound in the world.
Oh God.
We also partake in the consumption of adult beverages during the recording of the show. As you can tell, I may or may not have had a couple of priming drinks before the show started. Sean, what are you on?
I'm not. What am I on? I'm not on anything. I'm just high on life, bud. That's all I got. But no, I'm actually not drinking. I'm actually taking a bit of a break. Believe it or not, because I'm trying to not be such a big fat guy anymore. So I decided to drink some hydrogen dioxide in liquid form, which for you people,
let's get right past that. Yeah.
Yes, it's water. So let's skip past that. Let's go on. Kurt, what do you got?
I'm back on the Kraken tonight. I went to the local liquor store and some local dudes. Local. Some guy was set up offering samples of vodka and some schnapps stuff from some brewery in Kindersley. And I said, here's a couple of cards. We have a podcast, and we're always looking for liquor sponsors.
Good show.
But I'm just the samples guy. Like, take it home to your boss.
Yeah.
That's right.
Just
who do you report
to? Hey,
who do you report to?
Yeah. Exactly. Who's the decision maker? Who are you? Who do we have to shill to?
We'll shill for liquor.
Oh, you're goddamn right.
Uh,
Yeah. So anyway, I just picked up a bottle of crack, and I haven't had that in several months. So what the hell?
cool.
Weren't you literally just drinking at the other show?
Yeah, like 3 or 4 shows ago.
Not even fucking close, people.
Oh, God.
I'm still on the 40 Creek. I still got 3 bottles this size in the pantry. I figure I'm going to drink them all before I buy any more. And I mixed it with some ice and a little bit of water, and that's it. 40 Creek press and ice.
Press. So is that different from regular 40 Creek?
Yeah, because you add for every ounce of 40 Creek, you add a quarter ounce of water.
Oh, okay. Cool.
Just smooths it out a little bit.
I just pour it early and let the ice melt a little bit, and it presses itself.
That's true.
Yeah.
But this way, I can just drink the glass.
I guess I'm a more patient alcoholic. Okay. If you wish to send us any form of consumable alcohol, not the rubbing shit, please. I'm drunk enough of that in my life. I'm kind of over it. If you wish to send us any form of consumable alcohol for us to review on air, please get in touch with us via Facebook or email, and we will arrange it.
Just like Ontario Tim, who we just arranged.
Tim, that's
right.
Something in the mail.
Mm-hmm.
Through our other sponsor, M14 Medic Firearms.
Postage paid by M14 Medic Firearms. That's right.
That's right. Serving the Canadian gun industry since 2016. M14 Medic Firearms specializes in M14 patterns as well as ground rifles. Should I read this in a different accent too?
No, you're fine.
Western Canadian is fine.
Yeah.
Like
Western
No,
Canadian.
hey.
Doesn't that sound more Minnesotan? Yeah, we Western Canadians there once, don't you know? So this is your one-stop shop for all your M14 gun plumber needs. Again, if he doesn't do it, he knows someone who does. So,
but unfortunately, that guy knows a lot of people.
Yeah.
Yeah. Good and bad.
Oh, and we also got an ad here for TACCOM. You guys want me to read that too?
Yeah.
TACCOM Canada 2020, September 11th through 13th. The Canadian Pro Gun Podcasters Network will be in attendance at TACCOM 2020. Your favorite podcasts will be on hand throughout the show. So make sure you stop by the booth and meet your favorite and pick up something swag. Or drop by while we do our special live broadcast where we'll be talking to event organizers, guest speakers, and vendors about all of their new and must-have products. You can see details for the show at TACCOMcanada.com and stay tuned for tickets release details.
Oh, you almost made it.
It was like the third last word, for fuck's sakes.
You got to practice, man. Practice.
We actually have a link here in the show notes.
Yeah.
Is there a way we can put that in the bottom banner in the bottom of the screen right now in our live stream?
Is that the proper link for the where you can get tickets?
I don't. No, not that one. The one underneath it. Gunning Around Panel Only affiliate program.
Ooh, referral. Let's just take a look. Is that it? I think that I don't know. No, that's not it.
Oh, we need to get that link.
I've got it somewhere. It'll be in the description of the show.
So, will it? Will it
yeah.
really?
Yeah, I'll add it right now.
So I was just thinking we could like put that on the banner at the bottom of the live stream and have all our.
I'm on it.
Chill out to TACCOM for all of our listeners that are taking time out of their busy Thursday evening.
All
Come
50
and
of you.
watch
Here, let me take a look. Somebody read my stuff.
John, who all is going to be at TACCOM in the?
Well, we've funny you should mention that, but I listen to these other podcasts and none of them mention us. So,
hey,
what?
We don't have to get to their level. We're better than that.
Canadian podcast, Canadian Patriot Podcast, Canadian Prepper Podcast, Slamfire Radio, CCFR Radio, Snoo Shooter Canada, the Fog Life Boys, the Fog Life Boys.
That's what it is.
And then there's other ones too, but I don't know if I can find that picture now.
Anyway.
Well, I try and look at that damn website, and you got to have login. Sean, you must have a login.
Nope.
You don't?
Nope. I'm literally going through our chat where we hash out everything and trying to find that link.
Well, that affiliate link, I think you had to click on something to set it up.
No. Regardless, go Go.
Main topic, 30 to 45 minutes. Kurt leads.
Are you supposed to
Open.
Oh.
I'm Ron Burgundy. I think we say that every show. Once a show.
I think we do that on purpose.
You do.
Or at least I do.
Yeah.
All right.
Well, we were going to have a guest on, but apparently he's being investigated by CSIS. So
we want to reveal that.
Well, we're not saying who the guest
We're not
is.
associated with that in any
No.
form.
No. No, of course not. We're already on list. And if you're not on a list, you're doing something wrong.
That's right. You're not trying hard.
That's right. Not trying hard enough. But so because of that, we didn't have a backup. So Kurt figured we're going to dive into what do you got? Some load development, or what are you talking about here?
Well, precision rifle stuff, like where to start. Like you just received your precision rifle, and okay, there's lots of guys out there that
Like I have that Remington 700 sitting in John's garage right now that we just mounted a scope on it. What do I do?
Well, what do you want to do with it? I guess is the first thing you got to ask. Like, do you want to get sort of the Nat's ass precision out of it, or are you just happy plinking it steel out to 600 meters or something like that?
I want to touch things really far away with some velocity. And
really far away can mean a lot of different things to a lot of different people.
Like, how far would you say really far away? How far away are you talking?
Well, for Sean, really far away, I would say is 600 meters.
You're not wrong.
No, I'm not. Thank you for acknowledging that.
You're going to be the only one.
But and truth be told, 600 meters is really far away. When you're shooting at a 4x8 sheet of steel or gyprock or whatever, it's really not all that far away. When you're shooting at a 4 to 6 inch plate, it is fucking far away.
Mm-hmm.
6 inches at 600. Well, 6 inches at 600 yards is roughly a minute of angle, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's the equivalent of hitting a 1-inch plate at 100 yards.
Yeah, that's it. And
right.
Everybody says, well, not everybody, but a lot of people say, 1 inch at 100 yards. What's that? Okay, well, you don't have to fight with wind or anything else, or those small movements at the source won't show up at 100 yards a whole lot. You stretch that out over 6 times that distance, it becomes evident what the hell is going on with environmentals and your position, your delivery, all that kind of shit, right? For guys like John, who is now quite good at precision long range stuff.
I'm really good at dialing up elevation adjustments. That's what I'm good at. That's it.
You're a champ, man. You can dial like no other. Capitalizing on that dialing, maybe not so much.
Well, my biggest stumbling block now when it comes to getting out there, like I've overcome that I'm going to call it a mental stopgap that keeps you from getting out a little bit further. Once you understand that the math is predictable and linear for drop, and that it's as simple as getting a scope with a good enough rector assembly that you can dial in consistent dial-ups up and down, that's the lion's share of the problem getting out there. Where the next big problem, and I honestly believe now that it's a bigger problem than dialing up drop, is judging the wind, like figuring out how fast the wind is, making allowances for that, and then figuring out how much to dial in or hold off for wind at whatever distance. Well, I still have a really big problem with that.
Well, for sure, and I think most shooters do still.
Yeah.
There are two things that I think come into play before that, even especially for new shooters, is one, believing what you're dialing. Like there's all sorts of ballistic solvers out there now, right?
Yeah.
That will tell you, and granted, there's a lot of them that'll get you really close. But you still have to do fine tuning. I remember thinking when I started out, and like I told you guys before, that I didn't necessarily have a mentor. I didn't have anybody shooting with me. I learned on my own kind of thing, and think, fuck it, 600 meters. Jesus, that seems like a long way, because only 100 or 200 meters back from that, I was only X. And now you want me to go X plus 4? It was really weird. And your brain is your brain's kind of a fucked up thing. It convinces you of wrong shit all the time.
Yeah.
Instinct is one thing. Science is another. And of course, I can't remember the second thing. Believing what you should be doing and then executing it. Well, lying to yourself, I guess, was the other thing. We all do it. And
if you can't be honest with yourself and say, you know what, my body position wasn't right, my trigger finger wasn't on the right spot, I was muscling the rifle, I wasn't in a natural point of aim, all that stuff makes such a big difference. Absolutely. And it really exacerbates it once you get out past say 150 yards, 100 yards. You can muscle and hold on for at 100 and still hit the kill zone of a deer without any trouble.
God, yeah.
You know what I mean? But once you're aiming at that deer at 300, that same deer, and you're using the same muscling techniques to hold on that deer, you're gonna miss that deer.
One of the problems we have as men that we're somewhat proud and we don't want to admit to ourselves. Like, the reason that I missed that target or that deer or whatever, fuck it, had to be the load. Yeah, had to be the gun. Jesus, I guess it's colder today than it was when I sighted it in, or whatever the hell, right? There's always something else to blame rather than looking at your position, your build of your position and everything.
Well,
else.
In the old adage, a good craftsman never blames his tools for shoddy work.
Yeah, absolutely, man.
That's why like when I met you, Kurt, I knew jack shit for shooting long range. Like, what my forte is putting as much lead downrange as fast as possible, and that range is generally between 50 and 100 meters, right? So and then the odd shot I take hunting, which I generally miss. So out of the old 270, except for this last couple of years, but I digress. So listening to what you've been preaching and me just sitting back and listening, I've learned so much. But now I have to put that into action, right? So I've got this 308 Remington 700 sitting in John's garage right now that I haven't taken possession of yet. I'm going to be shooting 308, right? So how do I effectively get the right cartridge, the right projectile? How do I make that decision?
Well, there's all sorts of choices out there. It's mind-boggling the choices that you do have.
Great.
We could go.
So how I started, like when I started thinking about shooting longer range and actually had the opportunity to go someplace that I could shoot past 300, I was watching Video C's series on YouTube at the time called Sniper 101 by Rex Reviews, and I watched all of those videos, and man, are they long-winded. But despite what you might think of Rex personally or his belief system or what have you, there's a lot of good information in there for the guy that don't know nothing and wants to learn more. And one of the most helpful things I got from him was doing ballistic comparisons with just a standard pick your ballistics calculator. A free app will work, or there's all kinds of ballistic calculators online you can use. But pick your bullet weight, pick a factory load, and take the velocity right off the box. And you have two criteria for picking a cartridge when you want to shoot out a little further. And one is you want to stay supersonic with the chosen load. So you use the ballistic calculator to figure out how far out that bullet will stay over 1,200 feet per second. And once it gets to 1,200 feet per second, that is the theoretical maximum of that cartridge. Because after that, you have to be really picky on bullet and loads and everything else like that. Another one to think of too is how many foot-pounds of, if it's a hunting cartridge, a hunting application, you want to know how many foot-pounds of energy that bullet is still carrying at whatever distance that is. And 450 foot-pounds is the theoretical minimum to take good killing shots on game. So once at whatever range that is, that bullet drops below 450 foot-pounds of energy is the theoretical maximum. And if as far as you want to shoot isn't within that theoretical maximum, then that's not the right cartridge for you, right? And that's one of the reasons why I settled on the 243 so early, if that makes any sense. Not only is it cheap to shoot, relatively cheap to shoot, doesn't take that much powder. The bullets are definitely in the more affordable range. There's all kinds of reasons why to go with something like a 308. And a 308 is a great place to start for anybody that wants to shoot out to 800.
No question. Yep.
Shooting out to 1,000 with a 308 is where things start getting a little bit trickier. And I've been down this road, which is why I don't shoot a 308 to 1,000.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
So like the 308 is a great place to start.
So you're saying I can't just take my 180 grain Campro projectiles, load them up with a bunch of Varget and go?
You could.
Okay.
For sure. Don't expect to be making hits anywhere near consistently at 1,000. I'll tell you that.
Well, with those 180s, I fully expect you'll be good out to about 400. And I don't know that you'll be MOA. Maybe you will. I don't know. I'm not sure what kind of projectile the Campros are, but I would assume they are the more mass-produced, budget-friendly variety, as opposed to the higher quality control on bullet construction. One thing you'll notice is that guys that are shooting bench rest rifle within 300 yards are almost all of them shooting a flat base bullet. The guys that try to shoot out further than 300, they start to go to the boat tail, and they're using more of a more sleeker, fancier, more sexy looking profile on the bullets than your standard cup and core spire point type ammunition. Now,
your time of flight begins to really have effect beyond 300 meters, right?
It does.
So your ballistic coefficient starts to come into play a lot more beyond that distance.
Yeah.
Okay.
Bullet efficiency, whatever you want to say.
You're pretty much pick your poison for 308 bullets. Get your pick whichever bullet you want, as long as it's got a boat tail. It doesn't have to be a match bullet, but a match bullet will be more consistent on weight and on profile and things of that nature than like a spire point hunting bullet. Not that spire point hunting bullets can't be accurate, but you're going to want to pick something that's going to be more consistent, so that you can kind of realize your limitations a little bit quicker and easier. Like if you have a good bullet, you have a good solid rifle, and you know your powder charge, and you're shooting, and it's starting to do something wonky, you could diagnose really a lot quicker if it's you, or if it's something with your platform, or if it's your load, a lot easier than if you have some dodgy components involved in there, right? Like, I wouldn't use, no offense to the guys at Canada Ammo, but I would not be using Dominion primers in a match rifle. Not that there's
If you want to do well.
Yeah, not wrong with that.
You can take the old Nova down the quarter-mile track with regular gas if you want. It'll get there.
Yeah, that's right.
It's just not going to get there really efficiently. And, you might do well one day. You might do like shit the next day.
Yeah.
But you're not going to compete with the top street cars.
No.
Yeah.
Same kind of thing. Yeah. You pick cheaper components, more mass-produced components, things like that. They're just not going to perform as well as the more top shelf stuff. So, it just all depends on what you want to do with it, what you're expecting out of it, how far you want to go. I've been a fan of the Hornady Bowtail hollow points for a long time for practice. And I'm telling you, sometimes they can exhibit some extremely good accuracy. I mean, not bench rest level or anything, bench rest competition level or anything like that. But they'll run to a certain degree with some of the much more expensive bullets.
Yep.
Okay.
To a point.
That's what I shoot out of my 6 mil Ackley, and that takes me all the way out to 1500
for sure.
Or 14, anyways.
It'll do it. It'll do it.
I have no idea what my group size like that out there.
Right, and your hit percentages, possibly with a Berger hybrid, you'd get better.
Maybe, yeah.
I'm gonna say probably.
Yeah. Just from a simple math point of view, though, I can shoot 100 of the Hornady's for the cost of 35 of the Bergers.
Yeah.
So,
well, and you know what? There's no real replacement for trigger time either.
No, exactly.
And when you're driving the old Nova with pump gas, in the quarter mile trying to compete, you got to try a little bit harder. You got to find different ways to compete. It's the same thing with cheaper bullets or whatever, right?
Yeah.
If you have a factory rifle versus a custom rifle, a custom rifle, and I've found this out, it kind of spoils you because the fucking things are built so much better than what you would get out of the factory that it allows you to be lazy. And I found this in spades when my 260 Ackley burnt out. Went back to the 308, the old Franken rifle, and man, did I get a goddamn reality check.
For sure.
I had to learn. Well, it's not this bad, but I had to learn how to shoot again. Those fundamentals that I could let relax.
Yeah.
With a custom rifle that shot really well, I wasn't getting away with anymore with that 308.
And some of your load habits, I'll bet some of your load habits had to change as well, because you all of a sudden couldn't be quite so lackadaisical about seating depth. And if you were a quarter of a grain or a half a grain out on loads, it showed up pretty big. And that's the one thing I've always noticed about, especially, I'm not sure what it is, but especially Remington factory barrels. You have to just about jam the bullet in order to get the damn things to shoot. If that makes any sense.
Say that again, John. Sorry.
Every time I've had a Remington factory barrel shoot, if the bullet is just kissing the lands or jamming about 5 thou, the thing always shot like a house on fire. As soon as I shortened the bullet to fit a mag or something like that, the groups would open up to inches larger at 100 than and that's been my experience with every Remington factory barrel I've ever owned, every single one.
And what Remington factory barrels were you able to engage the lands?
All of them.
Fuck off.
Yeah. Not with a mag. Not with the 280 as well. Same thing. I'm
okay.
I'm like this far from the lands in the 280. It's I could jam them. In fact, I had probably a quarter bullet diameter in the case.
Okay, right.
When I started trying to seat bullets in the gun until I got one that would seat, and then once I got one to close without any friction on the bolt handle, okay, that's my seating depth for my 280 hunting rifle. And that thing, I've taken it out to 400 on targets, and it works. Say what you. I'm a Neanderthal when it comes to hand loading. I'll be honest with you.
You can't be that bad, John. I've seen you shoot, and I've seen you hit steel a fair ways out there, so you can't be all that bad.
Yeah. Well,
I've seen you do it with a goddamn light barrel 243 and blue box Federal out at 800 fucking yards. So
it's all about ammo choice.
What's that?
All the bullet choices, baby.
that was ridiculous.
I've never had a bad batch of Hornady cup and core bullets. You know what I mean?
I don't know that I have either.
I've never. if the rifle will shoot, it'll shoot the Hornadies. That's I don't know what it is.
I only ever had one rifle that didn't like Hornadies, and it was Weatherby Vanguard 204.
Okay.
The 40 grainers and the 32s, just terrible. I fed it the 39 Blitz Kings. It was gold.
Oh, really?
That fucking thing killed coyotes like crazy.
Well, I have a little trick. I'm going to impart this little bit of wisdom onto the group.
All right, just a little bit.
The larger,
how much we can handle.
Okay, so here's my trick. Whenever I get a rifle, and I play more with factory rifles than I do with custom rings. Like I got custom barreled rifles, but nothing crazy like some guys we know. But when I get a factory rifle, the first thing I do is I buy a box of pick your poison, whatever caliber, whatever bullet weight you think it might shoot well. Usually I have a preconceived notion of what bullet weights for which caliber, but that's neither here nor there. Federal blue box, I go to the range and I shoot 5 or 6 rounds to zero the optic, and then I'll shoot 5 rounds for a group. If it doesn't shoot a good group, that rifle gets put right back on gun nuts to sell, or gets flogged to the next buyer, or it's gone. I'm not going to waste any more time on that rifle. But if it shoots federal blue box to within 1.5 MOA at 100, then I know that is a tube that I can work with. It's going to shoot at some point. It's going to shoot. So I've played around with rifles like ad nauseum, trying to find a load that will shoot out of like a Remington 30-06. And it took a lot of fiddling around until I finally got a load I was comfortable with. And that rifle, like 300 or 400 rounds of testing before I finally found a load that thing would shoot. Federal blue box, group 3 inches at
I would have tossed that in the back of the truck by then.
I had more patience then.
Yeah.
But I've since learned that if it doesn't shoot federal blue box, don't bother.
Yeah.
You're done.
No, you're very right. Yeah. That and I'm not sure if this rings true across the spectrum, but the Hornady Superformance, and I found that shot really well. And the Federal Fusions as well in some rifles.
Really, and the funny thing is, Federal Fusion, all the rifles I've tried it in have worked really well, but the Super Performance I found is very, very fussy. My dad's Parker Hale 270 won't shoot the Super Performance 130, 130 grain. Yours will.
Yeah, mine.
My father-in-law's Model 700 won't shoot the Super Performance 130s, but it really likes the Hornady bullets with H4831. So the same bullet.
My Parker Hale, I took that last muley with a 140 grain Hornady Super Performance, which I've been told was a mistake because I'm at risk of blowing myself up with that factory load. But I've shot multitudes of rounds through it, and it's been great. I've had zero issues. So what do I know?
Well,
okay, so we actually have a topic here.
Yeah.
What to do with your new precision rifle now that you've received it?
Yeah.
Really, it's just learning stuff through trial and error. So we got a whole bunch of. Do you want to start knocking off these?
Right. Damn it. That's a Rickyism. You read that right.
Denial and error.
Really, it's just learning stuff through trial and error. Denial and error.
Denial and error.
You didn't actually read it.
Oh
my God.
Drinks on John.
So I got a question for you guys. Have you guys tried the Lemmy Shine method for cleaning or prepping brass, or for like tumbling brass?
No. I've always been corn cob or walnut media
Ditto.
vibrator guy or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah,
he's a vibrator.
Vibrator guy.
I'm gonna slash your fucking tires.
He said corn cob and vibrator. Sorry. I'm a corn cob guy myself.
You better warm up that CAA card, you prick.
I'm a corn cob guy myself, and I use Lyman Tumbler Media goop. I think I bought a tube of that in 2009, and there's still half a tube left, and I tumble a shitload of brass.
I'll wash brass. Like I always tumble it after it's fired, just to get the carbon out, except for the inside of the neck, just to get it sort of rubbed off the outside of the neck. And I find it's easier on my dies if I tumble after I fire them. And then when I resize them with the lube and that, sometimes I'll throw them back in the tumbler and leave them overnight because I'm fucking lazy. Most times I will take it up to the sink, run hot water over them, all that kind of stuff. And I've tried the Lemon Shine thing, and I think it works okay. But you know what? Regular dish detergent and really hot water and burnt hands seems to work just as well as any. You gotta get in there and scrub them, boy.
I'm a little bit lazier, I guess, than you are when it comes to cleaning my brass. Like if I'm shooting in the rain and it's muddy or in the snow or what have you, I'll take my brass and I'll give them a rinse in the sink, maybe with some soap and water, and I'll put them in the oven at 150 till they dry, and then I'll resize them all, and then I'll tumble them because screw it. But if it's just say I'm single loading and I'm taking them out of the rifle, dropping them in the cartridge case, grabbing the next one, putting it in, I don't bother with anything. It goes right into the resizing die and then gets tumbled after. I'm not sure why I tumble after I resize. Seems kind of silly, but I'll resize. I'll trim if necessary. I'll trim up or tune up my primer pockets, check all that stuff, and then I'll tumble before I seat primers, right? So I'll chamfer deeper, all that kind of stuff. So I'm only tumbling my brass once. I'm not tumbling it before I resize and then again after, like some guys I know. Some guys I know, they like to pop out the primer with the universal decapping die. They'll tumble it, get it nice and clean. They'll resize it, and then they'll tumble it again, and then they'll trim it for length, chamfer deeper, uniform primer pockets, and then tumble it a last time as well. And that's like way more than I'm willing to do for prep on brass.
Yeah, that's a little intense. Like I do the method outside. Like I'll deep prime it, tumble it, then resize it, and do all that work. But I won't retumble it again. Right? I'll just keep it the one time when it's nice and clean. So I don't know. Maybe that's why I suck at shooting long range.
Well, the only reason I will tumble after resizing is just to deal with the case lube. That is it.
Yeah.
And I've done experiments, and again, not at bench rest competition level or anything like that. But if you have good primer pockets like what you find with Lapua brass or what do you want to say, match prepped, say Winchester brass or something like that, where you've uniformed the primer pockets already. If you have that little bit of carbon in your primer pocket, I have never seen a difference unless you have some rank dirty primer. Leave the shit in there. Unless there's a lot of it in there, who cares? I've never seen a difference. Maybe some guys have, but I personally haven't. Anyway, I guess getting back to getting back on track a little bit here. When you receive that new precision rifle, and I've done this several times. There's several different steps a guy can or should go through to start load development. John, you and I have talked about this stuff at length. I'm considerably more anal with my brass.
You said anal.
You are.
Threw him off.
Sorry. I'm replying.
Jens was giving me shit about this a little while ago too, and the thing about your new rifle's chamber versus how your new brass comes, you don't know where that shoulder is. And for me, and again, I think maybe I go a little bit overboard. I am very particular about things. My 6.5 by 47 that I just got, I don't know what that datum dimension is for where that shoulder is located in that chamber versus where brand new brass is. So what I do is I neck up to 270, and then I put that piece of brass back through the 6.5 by 47 die, set up just a little bit so that it sizes like 95% of the neck, and then I try it in the chamber in the rifle. If it won't go, I got to size it a little bit more. If it's a good hard fit, but the bolt still goes without a whole lot of grunt, that's where I want to be, because I don't want to stretch that web area in that case. Maybe I'm a cheap son of a bitch. I like that my cases last a long time. So Sean, you got that picture there somewhere.
Yeah.
The case that I did. If you want to show people.
For the case? Okay, let me find it here.
One Shot Shane and Sad Carrie.
It doesn't make sense unless you're reading
I'm not.
the other chat.
Does that equate to two pump?
So Shane Monsieur said, Hornady one shot, spray it, leave it so easy, thousands load with it.
Totally.
And then I responded, John likes Shane's comment because that's the same fucking thing I do. Hornady one shot for everything.
You know
and
what?
Then, Steve says one shot Shane plus Sad Carrie.
Two pump chump. Carrie's out in the kitchen baking a pie again.
Everything's erased, baby.
Hornady one shot, really? There you go. So there you see the results, and I don't want to hear any fucking comments about that belt mouth. I don't know why that happens. It's just pressure going through the bushing. But
so would that be called the bell end?
Shut your fucking mouth.
Good times.
Snoopy fuck dog. So you can see the line at the bottom of near the bottom of that neck where it's sized back to after I necked it up to 270. Okay, so that's what will cause interference in your chamber, and that's what will allow you, for the most part, it's not going to be a perfect thing because there's a lot of pressure. There's 22 pounds, foot-pounds of pressure coming from that firing pin sort of thing, and it will push a little bit. But for the most part, it will allow that shoulder to stretch forward to form to that chamber without stretching a lot in your the web area of the head of the case. That's why I do that. You don't have to do that, but I do believe that it diminishes case life somewhat. So it's a consideration.
So you would,
and it doesn't take a whole lot of time. Jens was grinding my ass about it because it took like an evening or an evening and a half to do it, and he wanted to go shooting. And of course, I said no, I can't because I'm not completely done shooting yet. I was too busy working on the cases. But anyway, that's one thing that I start with. I know, John, you probably don't. You won't.
Well, honestly, I decided a while ago that from now on, whenever I do a custom barrel rifle, it's going to be an Ackley. So, because I abhor trimming brass so much, so I kind of got into the habit of cream of wheat fireforming, and she makes lots of pies. I have a serious question.
That's awesome.
So a serious question. Why wouldn't you just cream of wheat fire it, form it? If you're going to go through all that trouble and reduce your case life and everything else, why wouldn't you just cream of wheat? Why wouldn't you just cream of wheat it?
Okay, so John, and I know you prefer going that way, and I know we've had this I don't know whether you can actually call it an argument or not, but regardless of what method you use, whether it's cream of wheat or that false shoulder, you're still going to, if you don't create that false shoulder, you're going to push that case ahead. You got a case full of pistol powder and cream of wheat. That firing pin strikes that primer, pushes that case ahead, it ignites, and that case will swell and grab the chamber walls, and the stretch you get is still going to be at the back of the case. So you haven't gained anything in that respect.
Well, no, that's a funny story. A properly cut Ackley chamber
unless
will actually jam a little bit on the base of the neck of the case already.
And the caveat there is what?
Properly cut Ackley
if the chamber's cut right.
Right. You're correct. No, I've done that exact thing that you're doing there now with 308 cases to turn them into 223 Ackley, because I had my first 243 Ackley was cut long enough that factory ammo wouldn't go bang in it. The gunsmith who chambered it didn't realize that the go gauge was technically turned into your no go gauge with a 243 Ackley, right? So yeah. I know what you're saying.
And there you go, Steve.
Yeah. I wrecked 375 sniper tack cases from not getting the false shoulder right. What a piss off. I could understand that. You wouldn't believe the number of cases I fucked up trying to anneal with a propane torch, but that's another story entirely. Yeah.
Shane says an Ackley is a loosely used term now, and yeah, it is. But in the true sense of the Ackley, that 40-degree shoulder, that datum is supposed to coincide with what the hell is it? It's the base of the neck.
The base of the neck starts in the same place on both of them, but that also means that if you're used to a 30-degree shoulder and you bump that neck up to 40, your datum line is floating somewhere in the middle, right? So now that's a problem, right? If that makes any sense, because the datum line is halfway down the shoulder. Like if this is the shoulder of your case, picture my head is the neck.
You lost me.
Well, if you got a shoulder, a 30-degree shoulder, and you're going to a 40-degree shoulder, you're going up 10 degrees on that. This is exaggerated, of course, with my hands. Then you're going to wind up with the datum line floating somewhere below the actual 40-degree shoulder, right? So, yeah.
There you go. Shane says if you're where the hell did it go?
There it is.
If you're doing any Ackley chamber, just make sure that your smith has the proper go gauge. This will eliminate any possible chamber issues. And that's been a huge issue for decades. That there were a lot of smiths that would do an Ackley chamber for you, and no problem. I will just do it this way. I don't have the right gauge, but I'm sure this will work. And I have a decent example of that in my 223 Ackley. That chamber was cut long, and there's some factory ammunition that will not light off in that thing. Not a really big deal for someone like me, because again, I took brand new Lapua 223 cases.
I know a guy, he says.
Very well, yes, sir. And necked him up to 6 mil, and then back to 223, just short of full length sizing, so that it would crush fit in that chamber. And I blow them out, and then I adjust my sizing die accordingly, and everybody's happy. Not everybody, I suppose. I don't know what has that insight or that ability to measure like I can. I've got all these fancy gauges and shit like that I can diagnose exactly what's going on with that case and the chamber. Man, there's all sorts of stuff. Fuck, we could go for days and days here.
For sure.
Well,
Well, and just looking at like newbies getting into it,
yeah.
Like I think we've
Okay,
covered.
so you bought a Ruger precision rifle, or you bought a Remington Varmint or something like that. You've chosen a bullet. There's all sorts of information out there, whether you go to a manual, which I think everybody should have. There's a lot of information in the front of a manual that people either ignore or gloss over or don't even know exists.
Don't even read it. Why would you read something like that?
Like you look at a lot of these younger people, they've most of their lives have been online. So that's where you get your stuff. And there's no question, there's lots of information out there, but that stuff at the beginning of a valid reloading manual is extremely good stuff for, it seems pretty basic for guys like us, but starting out, man, that is good shit to know.
Yep,
for
advisable to be read by anyone starting out. But whether you go to AccurateShooter.com or Sniper's Hide or Canadian Gun Nuts or Gun Owners of Canada, there's lots of information out there. The guys will give you load data and all that kind of stuff. You start with a bullet, so 308. Lots of shit. I'll shoot in a 308. There's no question. But start with a popular bullet. Okay, you've got your bullet chosen. You go through a manual. You go through the internet or whatever, and pick a lot of different sources and see what you can come up with for a powder. Okay, fine. You choose a powder. There's lots of powders that will work really well in lots of different calibers.
Yep.
Pick one. Now you go look at your load data. And this is where it gets a little more critical. The online stuff, every asshole has access to the internet anymore. And every asshole has an opinion.
Yeah.
Every asshole with a fucking Ackley runs things 300 feet per second more than the conventional cartridge, and they brag about it like crazy. And it's just not practical when you actually care to do some math. Get a range of powder charges that you think are reasonable. You can always go up, right? Yep. Start at something reasonable and go up from there. Learn to read pressure signs. And there's so much stuff out there about reading your primers, and it's just not a good indication. John, you and I have talked about the difficulty of reading pressure signs in Ackley chambers because of the diminished angle of the case taper, right? It's just tougher to diagnose pressure with those Ackley cases, or at least we've found anyway. Go and select a range of charge weights.
Yep.
And select a powder increment. Like, I guess one rule of thumb that I always like to use for something really unknown, small cases like a 223, go in 0.2 grains, 0.2 grains increments for your rough testing. 308, you can go with half grain. 30-06, I would, and 270 and 280 and all that kind of stuff. Go with half grain, unless you're not looking for wild accuracy. If you just want something to go hunting, go in one full grain increments. Larger stuff than that, the 300 mags and up, go with one full grain increments to rough out your initial testing, right? Once you get something that's started to come around to be consistent, accurate, and consistent, then you can fine tune it from there. John, I know you prefer the OCW method, or what you think is the OCW method. I prefer the latter for an initial. Maybe you could take us through your method, what you feel is an OCW.
Well, so I didn't know what an OCW was until post 2009.
I still don't think you do.
I know what a ladder
I'm not
test
trying
is.
to be a dick. I'm just really good at it.
I know. Yeah. I know what a ladder test is, and I've been doing ladder tests forever. Like literally forever. Like 3 rounds to a ladder, to a rung, and then you do a ladder from minimum to maximum. Later on in my shooting life, I adopted a process of just shooting 1 round for the bottom half of the scale, because I knew that even if I found a load that shot well in the bottom third or bottom half of the load data charge, I wasn't going to load that load anyway. So what's the point in testing there? So now I've adopted a top half to load ladders or optimal charge weight. So like for you, what you just said about 0.2 and 0.3 and 0.5 of a grain, I'll take that a step further, and I'm not going to bother testing much beyond 0.2 of a grain in a 223 size case. 0.3 of a grain between ladders or levels in a 308 size case, or a 308 30-06 size case, like a long action, normal size case. Yeah, I'm looking at a half grain. Same with the mag case, up until about 338 Lapua. Then it's, unless I'm really shooting for something really precision style.
Well, like you said before, it's denial and error, right?
Yeah.
Like,
what you want to do, right? So
gotta find what works and what doesn't, and you got to do your research and don't fuck around with just trying things, because then you end up blowing up a gun like I did. And
that's the thing. That can all be prevented if you actually do some research. In the society we live in today, it's all about fucking convenience and not wanting to do my own work. Let's rely on what somebody else said, and when it fails for me, then it's somebody else's fault.
Exactly. There's no ownership, and Jocko Willink will attest to that, right?
Yeah. So cut the fucking shit.
Yeah.
Do your stuff.
Own it and do your work. Put in the work and touch that target.
And Shane, go fuck yourself. I know I asked you for 6.5 by 47 data. that was just recon.
Not using
it anyway.
I do a ladder test for like hunting style rifles, and I'll do an optimal charge weight for my reach out there a little further rifles. So what is your optimal charge weight method? What are you doing? So I would the same thing I do with a ladder test. I make 1 round at each powder level I want to test. Right. Okay. So if I just say, for instance, the 223 was the last one I did a optimal charge weight in, and what I did was I made 11 loads, 0.2 of a grain different from where I started to where I finished. And then I went out to your place, and at 265, 285, something like that, I shot. I had originally planned on maybe doing a ladder, depending on how the thing shot with the factory ammo that I already had, or the previous hand loads I had from a different rifle, that kind of thing, right? And I decided to go optimal charge weight as soon as I shot my first group after zeroing the optic, right?
You had some previous data, though, right, John?
For 223.
From the same chamber in a different barrel. Isn't that correct?
From you, yeah, which I promptly discarded. I didn't even use your load, Dad.
What rifle are you talking about?
My 223 Ackley.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought you were talking about your 243 Ackley.
My 240.
Right?
I'm on my third barrel in the 243 Ackley.
Sorry. So
I had a lot of previous data to go off of for that one. But
sure, sorry.
But the 223, I really didn't. I had a little previous data from you. So I decided before I fired my first round of my 11 round ladder that I was going to do optimal charge weight testing this time on this one. And by optimal charge weight, I mean I paint the bullet tips different colors. And in this particular range trip, I only had 3 different colors. So that meant I could only shoot 4 bullets at a time before I drove down range, because I'm not going to walk that far, and then marked my holes.
Sean, you want to throw up that picture about that I showed you with the case with the different colored bullets, please?
The case with the different colored. So, yep. Okay. Oh, yeah. Well, I gotta upload it. You guys have some witty banter.
So really bad.
then I would
But
then-
this is
I
what
would
you're
then-
talking about, though, right, John?
Yeah, so
Color
then I would
coding
then
those bullets.
shoot those first 4 rounds, and all 4 would be different powder levels, right?
Right.
So when I shoot those, ideally, just like what Kurt has there up on the screen, he's got 4 colors, so he could actually do five at a time. But the last time I did this, I only had 4 colors, so I did 4 or 3 colors, so I did 4 at a time because one has no color.
I can actually do 6, John,
yeah,
because the first one and the last one should be far enough apart, given the given adequate distance. Like this test the other day was at 400 yards.
okay,
Depending on excuse me, depending on cartridge and distance.
Yeah.
Inside 400, inside 300 for sure. You may have trouble distinguishing between.
So I would say that
distinguishing how those climb.
an optimal charge weight test is pretty much useless inside of 300 yards, in my very humble opinion.
An optimal charge.
Like-
I thought an optimal charge weight test was designed to be perfectly adequate at 100 because you set up different targets, one target per charge weight.
Yeah, but we're
and
not
you shoot
talking
in a
about
round-robin style.
hunting rifles. We're talking about precision rifles.
It doesn't matter.
You're-
It's the same. It's one method.
Yeah, but okay, sure.
This is-
I'm telling
you
you
and
right
I
now,
need to fight
based-
because we've had this
Based on my
conversation several
experience doing an optimal charge weight test, the data is inconclusive and useless inside of 300. I won't bother shooting an optimal charge weight unless I can shoot at least 400. 600's better. And you remember with the 243, I was really worried about barrel life. So I didn't want to spend 300 rounds figuring out what it like to shoot so I could have 500 accurate rounds through that tube. I wanted to do it in under 40 rounds, and I did it in under 40 rounds. And I made a cold bore at 1050, and I'm making hits at 1450. So like I think I did okay on that one. But we also did an OCW at 600 on that one, right?
Yeah.
It's a lot harder to do an OCW by yourself than with a spotter at distances getting out past 400 yards. 400 yards, you can still. I'll be honest with you. I could when I was shooting the 223 at 400, I couldn't see my bullet holes at 400 yards. So that made things difficult. So that means I had to, and I didn't trust that I could have a blank one at the start and the end when I've only got 3 in between. And as it turns out, I couldn't have. I would have been completely flummoxed on those ones. So, but I got a pretty good idea of where to go and where I want to be now. So I fired off a grand total. I did 3 optimal charge weight tests with that one, as opposed to doing 1 3-round ladder. So,
Yeah.
Another turn for visual representation.
I'm not sure how well this will show up.
Okay,
Can you see those colors or no?
I can't see the colors, but I can see the holes, and there's writing beside them.
So I've turned it sideways, but that's a ladder that I shot at 400, and you can see the colors actually quite good.
So is that vertical dispersion on there, or is that
is vertical?
Okay.
Now you can see that I wrote in there 36.6 primer did not light. I'm having trouble with either the firing pin or the spring. I suspect it's a spring on this rifle. I think it was a total of 6 primers that did not light that day last Saturday.
What is that rifle?
That's at 700.
Okay, I've got a speed pin.
I have one coming.
Pin.
I have Gary at Bighorn is sending me a whole firing pin assembly. He actually had one in stock.
Okay, well I've got one of those speed pins with a spring.
Oh, you do, hey?
Yeah, one of those ultralight speed pins. It's
got
supposed
one
to reduce your lock time by 0.00035 of a second.
Yeah, well, Steve and I had this conversation too because Grattan has these light firing pins, and I'm like, do you think I would notice any difference? He's like, nah, go with the durability of the steel.
Yeah, I can
Roger that.
Yeah, that's why mine is still in the parts bin.
Yeah. So anyway,
go ahead. You're a Remington 700 spending spree at Brownells. Woo!
Oh, so going back to that target though, you would have seen right around at 36.6, where it would have clustered a little bit with. What the hell is that?
Yeah, but can you actually say that though? Because you didn't actually get an impact on that one.
Okay. Patience. 36.4.
Yeah.
36.6 probably would have landed in here if I had done it right. 36.8 jumped up, 37 jumped up. Now
Yeah.
I'll show you what I did after that. I still had rounds left, so I thought, you know what? I'm going to go to 100 and do 3-shot groups just to see. And because of what do I got to lose? My range is 45 minutes away from my house.
Yeah, that's right.
So I don't know if you can see there. So 36.4.
Wow.
Right? There's 36.6. So you can't tell me there's vertical there is pretty much the exact same. Group size is damn near the same.
Yeah.
36.8 opened up a little bit. 36.7 was behaving the same way. And yes, there are 3 shots in there.
So are you holding that sideways from where it was posted on the board, or is it?
This is right side up as I shot it.
Okay.
Okay. And then 37.0 printed like this, behaved the same way as 36.8, but I had one failure to fire here. The primer didn't light on this one. But you can see they were starting to shape up the same way.
Yeah.
But clearly 36.6, which didn't light on the ladder test, should have done the same, grouped right around the same area as the 36.4.
How far was the ladder done?
400 yards.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's a good indication, and when you can get results like that on a ladder, when they're stringing vertically, ignore that top stuff. That was the first shots out of the rifle at 400 yards, and it was windy, and my fucking fingers were cold. Oh, there we go. If you can get results like that, you know at least you're on the right track. And like I said, 36.6 should have printed somewhere close to 36.4, judging by my results at 100, right? That I can extrapolate from there. I should reasonably logically be able to extrapolate from there. So what I'm going to do now is concentrate in this area for further testing. So I can go deeper with finer powder testing, but of course I can only go so far. I've got 36.2 or 3 to 36 point. I can try 36.8 again.
What are you showing for pressure there?
Well, let's just take a look. There. I don't know. That's hard as shit to see. Nothing. So 36.8 really didn't show. 37.2 I went up to one shot, and it was a bit of a stiff bolt, and there was some extraction back through into the ejector pin hole.
Okay.
So I left my ejector pin out actually for this testing. Not intentionally, but I strip the bolt. I strip the bolt when I find the lands when I'm testing out.
Know what you're talking about.
Right.
Shit. That's funny.
Yeah, at least
Shane wants to know what
back in.
That's right. Shane wants to know what bullet and powder you're using.
136 CNARS, Lapua CNARS, and the powder is Varget.
Okay.
So yeah. I got my data. Well,
so what's your theoretical max on that, or have you actually found where your max is now by pressure signs?
No, my max that I found was 37.2, but that was at a 24 thou jump. Now the throat is a little bit long in that chamber to get the shank of the bullet down to the bottom of the neck and still be close to the lands. So I opted for a 24 thou jump to get more bullet in the neck, just to see how it would go. So what I found when I'm starting to do load development, I like being up against the rifling.
Yep.
when I do my initial load testing.
Yep.
Because then it will show me an absolute ceiling on pressure, right?
Yep.
You're there, you're against the lands.
Yep.
There is no jump, no head start for that boat to get going. You know where pressure is at the top. You can back down from there.
Yep.
So I did this a little bit atypically from what I usually do. I started with a jump, a 24th hour jump, and I think those Cnars, I've used the 139s to great extent in the 260 Ackley. I shot gobs of them through that thing.
Yeah.
And so I kind of know how they act. They don't mind a jump at all. So starting at a 24th hour jump, I wasn't worried at all. So me finding pressure, like excessive pressure at 37.2, I still know that I got to be back from there.
Yeah.
What about running a crony at the same time? So Shane says, what about running a crony at the same time to test for extreme spread or standard deviation? Can verify ladder testing for fat spots and for guys without access to long ranges. Absolutely. So my shooting partner, last weekend, it was kind of a knee jerk. I just wanted to get the fuck out and do a little bit of shooting, and I was itching like crazy to get some rounds through this rifle, and I just picked up and went and left Jens at home. I guess.
Really?
Yeah, I did. I'm sorry.
Sorry,
like,
not sorry.
Well, no, I am sorry, but he was like, "Yeah, that's okay. It was cold out anyway."
Usually, well, who has their phone on? Rookie move.
Yeah, not this guy. Or is it this guy? Yeah, it's this guy.
Yeah.
Absolutely, it helps. I've noticed lots. I've used it lots in the past where even if it's a little bit hard to interpret what's going on target, you can look at your velocities and see those flat spots in your velocities where they how do I say
plateau?
Yeah, they level out, they stabilize a little bit. Okay, you show an increase of 40 to 60 feet per second every charge weight jump. And then all of a sudden you get 2 or 3 charge weights that are within 20 feet per second of each other, sort of thing. And then it starts to jump up further beyond that, back to the 60 feet per second per charge weight. That's a great indicator of an indication of a node, a sweet spot. So even if you can't, even if you're testing at 100 or 200 yards and you can't interpret where those bullets are landing and why, you can look at your velocity data and get information there to determine your next step in load testing. If you get what I mean, if that makes any sense at all. So when you've got a stabilized velocity or something relatively stabilized, you can concentrate around that area. In my case, with that 6.5x47, that 36.4 through 36.6, printed, they printed pretty damn close to each other. I can almost guarantee that if I had a chronograph reading those shots at the same time, that it would have shown velocity stabilization through that small range of powder charge weights. So yeah, absolutely, Shane, you're right. It does help a lot. It's not the be all to end all, but it certainly helps with that interpretation. Then you can get on with fine tuning, whether it's and typically it's seeding depths, and you can go down a huge fucking rabbit hole with that.
we'll have to dive into this a little bit more in depth. Each stage, right? And from prepping brass to finding the right bullet to cronying to like actually the mechanics of squeezing a trigger and going from there, right? So cool.
What's Steve saying there? How is a crony going to test me for
fat spots?
Those little caliper things there, Steve? and you put it right there.
They don't make calipers big enough for me, though. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. The ones that they used to measure your head.
I'm pretty sure that was those bale fork things.
Yeah, you actually use a fucking silage bale picker. Yeah. You are 96% body fat. Yeah.
Here, you guys. Can you guys see? That doesn't work, does it?
What's that?
You see that?
What else did I send you?
Does that come up on the screen share? You guys see what that is at all?
No, you got to put it as an overlay or whatever.
Oh, okay. How do I do that?
How dare you?
Oh my god!
How do I do that?
Hey, hey.
Yo.
Okay, just if anybody cares, those pictures that I sent you, Sean, or is it too much of a pain in the ass?
Just do it, man. We're on air. Let's go.
The strip bolt thing.
Okay.
So there's those 4 pictures I sent you earlier. How I take the firing pin out. How I take the ejector pin out.
See, I cheat. I bought a special tool that does all that in like 3 seconds or less on the bench.
Take the firing pin out?
Oh, taking the fire pin out is a little clamshell thing. You spin it off, done. And then the ejector and everything else, you put it in this thing, you clamp it, punch the pin out, done. Takes it all apart.
So remember what I was saying before about our society and convenience?
Yeah.
Fuck you lazy prick.
Yeah. Like I said,
I have pin punches.
I was
and a
going.
hammer.
I was going through. Well, you still need a pin punch and a hammer, but it's a lot easier when you have a thumb screw tool that compresses the ejector for you, and then all you have to do is use the pin punch to get it started, or maybe you have to tap to get it started. You just push it through.
There.
Yeah, firing pin comes out. Oh, you did it the sick, lame, and lazy way. The way I used to do it, you clamp the bit on the bottom in the vise, and you give it a pull. Put a dime in the slot.
Yes, sir. Okay, next one. So there you see the ejector pin gone out of there, so that it doesn't push up against your case to give you some sort of false reading. Your case isn't cocked off in your chamber when you shove a shot.
You said cocked off.
And you leave the extractor. You leave the extractor on, though, right, Kurt?
I do, because the extractor on a 700 doesn't have any effect.
No,
really,
right.
when you're pushing up against it. So then your cartridge with your bullet just started in there can sit freely in that bullet face. Okay.
Yeah.
What's the next picture there, Sean? Whoever you are. I don't know. I don't know you anymore. So there. You've changed, man.
Yeah, I feel like I'm looking down on you all the time now.
You don't know me. You don't know me.
So there you can see where that bullet has been engraved by the rifling. So you've made contact, and then you come back. And what I do, I don't use a case that has a slip fit. I use a fully resized case back to minimum SAMI specs, so that it's free in that chamber. There is no impedance there at all. And then you try a bullet, and if it doesn't fit,
you must have quit.
If it doesn't fit, you go back to your seating die and come down a little bit more. Keep trying it back and forth. Now I had some videos where I was trying it, and it showed. I've got in the show notes there, Sean, the Alex Wheeler method for finding the lands in a rifle. And that's pretty much exactly what I do. That bolt click at the top, once that diminishes to a point of nothing or extremely little, you are right at the start of the rifling. So that, to me at least, is a good point. Now you can't. I used it for years where I would either sand out the inside of a case neck or machine an expander ball to open it up, so that a bullet would slide back and forth in it, and use that. But I found that you can actually push that bullet up to 50 thou into the lands and kind of give you a false reading. Now, again, if you start there and start your load testing with your powder charges, you'll still see a ceiling of pressure, and you can always back down from there. So it's not wrong to do it that way. It's just that the strip bolt method, I find, is a little bit more precise and I guess, for lack of a better way to explain it, anal.
Anal.
And I have a tendency to get that way.
Well, the thing is, you have to remember, you're only doing this once, right?
So, Sean, that picture with all the shells lined up, there you go. So that you can see where all those different bullets engage the rifling and how they correlate with how deep they are in the case. So from that, you can determine what you want to do with it. If you want to hot rod it a little bit or get maximum performance out of it, you need to find a bullet that doesn't stick too far down in the case. Or, I guess conversely, if you have a bullet that, especially a bullet that you need to get close to the lands, but it doesn't have a whole lot of neck engagement, that's a concern too. In the case of the 136 CNAR, where the hell would that be? I think that was 1, 2, 3. That was 3 from the top. So you can see that the shank of the bullet was about halfway up the neck. That's why I elected to go with a jump to the lands rather than starting out close to the lands.
Okay.
You understand that?
Clear as mud, bud.
So to me, I think it's a little bit more important in certain cases to have more engagement between bullet and case neck than it is to be close to your rifling. You're typically able to find a sweet spot in a jump somewhere with most bullets, especially conventional bullets. I always get this mixed up. Secant ogives. I think, isn't that right? Are more forgiving than the tangent. Yeah,
sure.
The tangent ogives are like the VLDs. I'm certain that's the way that goes.
I thought the secant ogive was the VLDs and the tangent ogives was your G1, your G1 profile.
I always get that mixed up.
I have no idea. I just
know
jam everything at least 5 thou and I'm good to go.
If you can do that. So.
Well, it's pretty rare on a custom rifle that you're not going to be able to do that, to be honest with you.
Well, it depends. It depends on the reamer, right?
Oh, I guess depends on if you're trying to seat a 120 in a chamber. Yeah, right. Well, if you're trying to seat a 120 into a chamber that was designed for a 140 or a 150, then you could have some trouble. And that comes down to bullet selection though again, right? Because you're gonna that's all going to be something you're going to decide hopefully before you order a barrel, right? But if in Sean's case, I would probably start with something in a 168 to 175 grain bullet weight. And
for Sean with that 308, there's
take a powder.
No way you can go wrong with a 168 of whatever flavor.
Yeah, I would. If you're only planning on going up to 800, the Sierras would be fabulous. If you actually want to get to 1,000, you might want to start with the Hornadies.
Yeah. Your Sierras aren't gonna. Well, they'll do it, but you'll spend 20 rounds to hit 3 times.
Well, you will have to hot rod the fuck out of that case to get enough velocity.
Yeah, exactly.
That SMK above the transonic zone out to 1,000.
Oh, testify, my friend.
And at your place, there's that hollow. You have a target at 800, and you have a target,
And it is glorious.
And you have a target at 1,000, and heaven help you if your bullet tumbles at 950, because you'll never see the splash.
You don't see a goddamn thing.
So,
And it makes me giggle like a fucking teenage
oh,
girl.
that
with
was
a
my
Backstreet
heart. You know,
Boys
it was
concert.
no problem for me to get to 800 at Kurt's place, but getting to 1,000 was a fucking struggle. It was
It's a world away,
freaking
man.
brutal.
It's
Well,
a world away.
And there's that hollow between 8 and 1,000.
Yeah,
So you're not getting any information out of that at all. It's just
that
brutal.
is no man's land.
Well, Steve says 155 grain Palmas work good,
Yeah,
but everyone forgets about that.
Hey. There we go.
He's right, because I've never even thought of the 155 grain Palmas.
I've never tried them, but after I started working with that Franken rifle, I bought some. Well, I had some 168 Hornadies, and I thought, well, shit, that call sign 66 course that I'm going to shoot in and help out with. Well, fuck. I guess I better get some 175s, and I looked for 175 Match Kings locally. No chance. 175 tipped Match Kings, which are a different
different animal.
geometry.
Yeah, different animal altogether.
Completely, absolutely. And and then Shane comes up with, man, just go with 155 Match Kings or the Senars, he says, and load them up hard with Varget and fucking go. I'm like, great. Where the hell were you guys a week ago?
Yeah.
155 fast or 175, 178 with Varget. Yeah, exactly.
Read this one.
Steve got me in my 308 out to 1478, 178 MX. I don't doubt it, but find a 178 MX anymore. I have like 8 of them in a box somewhere back there.
I'll bet you we probably know
goodness.
somebody that can get us some decent bullets to get Sean going on his 308. Probably something in a 155 grain Palma, maybe.
Would we? Wouldn't that be something if we had some connection somewhere?
Yeah, really.
Yeah, I think that would be fantastic.
Huh. But I think Sean, honestly, get some large rifle match primers. Get some Varget. You probably have some of that already. If you don't, we know a guy. And get something that you want to shoot. And then I think we'll do a 3-round ladder for you to start with. Yeah.
I'm going to screenshot that.
That's so cute. That's such a little bottle. But and I think we'll do like a 3-round ladder at 200 at our club here, because 200 is as far as we can shoot there, and that'll give us a pretty good idea of where we want to go from there.
Definitely. Well, let's take it from there. Let's revisit this in about a month or so when it starts warming up, because I'm getting sick of this freaking cold. Anyway,
hey, don't fight it, man. Listen.
Yeah.
How many? I know you're a young guy, but how many years have we experienced a March that sets January's to shame?
Yeah.
Well,
you might as well just
take it on the chin and go. Right. Speaking of taking it on the chin, we don't have any news that I could find unrelated.
It's been boring and repetitive. It's
that's
the same
true.
Stupid shit.
I do honestly wonder when we're going to have a true blue or red revolution, for that matter. Because
well, I told you guys last time, I'm fucking ready. Bring it.
Let's
go.
I was talking to my wife earlier today. I said, you know what? This keeps going the way it's going. I said, the block just tabled a bill in the House of Commons to block that 7,000 and that project that's going to employ 7,000 workers in Alberta. And as far as I'm concerned, you know what? Let's push the button. Let's fucking go. We're done now.
Fucking right.
You fucking slimy, swarmy
Who's going to be crying in a couple
Anyways,
years?
that's just my personal opinion. I'll shut the fuck up now.
Woo!
Woo!
Moving on. Let's go to a positive. I picked for the Human Who Doesn't Suck of the week. I picked Doug Ford, the great Premier of Ontario, for basically called out Trudeau, and I think he called him back and just whooped his ass back from Africa from fighting around with that stupid non-voting Security Council bullshit he was doing there. and called them back and said, we need to fucking sort this shit out because this is ridiculous. And, and then moving on to the Dingleberry of the week, our shiny pony again for completely turning our country into a complete clusterfuck and a half. Right. Yeah. Kirk got his new shotgun. I got mine. John, did you bring your 870 down?
Nope. I don't have an 870. I have a Freonki.
Brothers for life, Sean.
I brought this though.
That's cute. 1022.
For all of you out there, I finally scratched my shotgun itch.
Yep. And did it the right way. So
sorry I couldn't pump gun with you guys in solidarity. Mine's a brake action over under or a semi-auto.
There you go. You can pump Kurt's gun later.
Oh,
don't run with the herd, boy. You know.
I was eyeballing Casey Attack Ord's 870 builds today.
Yeah.
And I'm like, 1950 doesn't seem like too much money.
Really?
Oh gosh.
Yeah.
Well, speaking of our new shiny shotguns and us fondling them, I'd like to keep them. Kurt, what can we do to keep them?
Well, you can join our national firearms associations like the CCFR and the CSSA. A membership to the CCFR costs $40 and is good for a year. Wouldn't hurt if you bought a shirt or a sticker or a hat as well. Everything helps. Here's a quick message from one of these organizations. Rick.
Smoke and mirrors. All right. I'm back.
And we're back.
Do we have any shout-outs this week?
Well, shout-outs. Sean, do you want to wait for your...
Well, I can do mine now. I'm actually wearing.
Said it's a surprise. Maybe we should leave
it
big out
because we have the vice president of the gun club I'm part of on the podcast right now. I'm going to actually give a shout out to the Saskatchewan Wildlife Federation right now. They're having their annual convention down in Weyburn this weekend, which I will not be attending. Wish I could, but Tracy's down there right now, so because they're brokering a deal there for some sort of membership that's being announced. So stay tuned for that. But yeah, shout out to the Sask Wildlife Fed. They just went over this year another $350,000 in habitat lands purchase being donated. So that's huge. That just keeps us being able to hunt on Crown. So that's my shout out this week.
All right, I got a couple of shout outs. First, I want to address Tim, our buddy Ontario Tim.
Ooh.
He's been with us for a while now.
Yeah.
He's saying any CNC machinist jobs for an Ontario boy out there when you separate. Well, first of all, Tim, CNC is fine. Having been an old machinist myself, you better fucking learn manual too, boy, especially if you want to do some smithing. Because Steve don't do no CNC shit unless it's laser.
Well, you know what? This could be a unique opportunity to our friends at EM Precision and our friend Tim.
True enough.
There you go.
True enough. And Tim seemingly has some access to alcohol.
Ooh.
Well, we'll see when the shipment shows up, right?
Yeah, exactly. We have to taste it first.
That's right. Then we'll judge Tim on that.
If he's sending us pure diesel fuel, I'm going to be a little upset.
Right, because we don't have enough of that out here.
Yeah, exactly.
What else? Diesel fuel in the morning. Fuck.
What else we got?
Right. 3 shout outs this week for me.
3.
Wow.
You've
already done 2. No.
Hey, everybody love everybody.
That's right. Can't we just all love people kind?
Okay, that's 1.
Okay, what do we got?
Dave in BC for finally resolving my shotgun deficient miserable fucking life. Thank you very much. I finally have a shotgun again. I'm excited about it. I'm going to run the piss out of that prick. And I'm going to train my girlfriend. It's going to be glorious.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
I think it will be anyway. Thanks, Dave. Also, John at Tundra Supply in Edmonton for offering up his graphics expertise to refine our logo. We don't have as far as we can tell, anyways, we don't have what is it, a vector?
A blah, 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 blah.
Right.
Yeah.
So the purpose behind that vector file is so that Steve at EM Precision can use it in his frickin' laser beam to brand us on some swag. So
Cool.
Steve's let us in or let me in on a couple of things. He's doing some magazines, sorry, for rifles. He's doing some prizes for some clubs around, lasering logos and shit onto them. We may get some gunning around logo stuff on some select items. Steve he says our current logo, it's a shit scribble that doesn't work.
Okay, we can't. No, okay, we didn't pay a dime for that logo, and I got to give a shout out to Gavin McCurry because Gavin did that on his own time. He's good shit. He could probably send us a high copy, high res logo. I've just been so busy with work, I never reached out to him.
Hey, man, that's fine. Listen, John at Tundra Supply has offered to do that for us.
Awesome.
And good guy. He's helping Steve out too. Steve's trying to help him out as well. As a young guy, he's trying to start he has started a gun shop in Edmonton and trying to make a good go at it. He's got some good products. Check him out at tundrasupply.ca.
I think my camera's drunk. Jesus Christ.
All right, final shout out for me.
Yeah.
Back 40 Guns and Gear in Saskatoon. I picked up some shotgun shells for my brand new to me shotgun and a pound of Black Rifle Coffee Company coffee to try. I haven't tried it before. Have you guys?
Yep.
Oh yeah. I've got a couple pounds of it in the pantry right now.
I bought my first pound at Back 40 Guns and Gear.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
I dropped off a couple of cards for him too.
Cool.
He says he listens to podcasts every once in a while, so check us out.
That's
perfect.
Paul.
And contribute if you feel it'd be worthwhile.
Is that Paul? Kurt?
It is Paul. Yeah.
Yeah.
You betcha.
Cool.
Yeah.
Cool. Okay.
What the hell is this card? Paul Dubinsky.
Yep.
Back 40 Guns and Gear.
Awesome.
And I'm done.
John, who do you got?
I feel like I have to pull back my shout out from last week because you'll notice that there is no fine vortex optic on the top of this rifle.
There isn't.
But I digress. I also haven't paid for it yet, so it's not so bad. I only have one really good shout out, and that's to Mrs. Sean. Sean's better half.
Sarah, my partner.
Yeah, your better half. Let's be clear.
Definitely.
She helped Sean, who was helping me. so do some sewing on these slings. So I've made about 6 of these slings now for Maple Seed. I was following Adriel Michaud's video on YouTube, hunting gear guy, and I made 6, and I've ordered materials to make another dozen. And shout out to TNT Gunworks in Regina. They hooked me up with 6 sets of free swivels, and they're going to get me wholesale pricing on another dozen more. So shout out to those guys. And I think that's
a question.
Sure.
If you don't mind my interjecting. Whereabouts am I in the herd here?
In the herd?
You've got all these slings, and I don't have one.
He looks so serious. I thought he was gonna get fucking mad.
Would you like one?
How do you realize how stupid that fucking question is?
Here, take it. It's right here.
All right. Thanks, buddy. It's all better now.
That's fine. I thought he looked so mad at you. I thought he was gonna fucking lose it.
So I could make you a better one that looks like this, but you probably have one of these slings already.
Maybe. Doesn't mean I couldn't use another one.
That's true.
Anyway, big shout out to Danny Joe for letting us use his music. Big apologies to Wes Stevens again this week. We ran out of time for you.
Back Wes.
Maybe next show.
Yeah. Sorry, Wes.
And that's it. Thanks, guys. We went way overboard. We're almost an hour. We're a quarter.
Hey, you know what? I think it was a good show.
That's right.
Great show.
Thanks, guys, for showing up.
Thanks, Steve and Shane, for your contributions too. That was
You
great
bet.
to have
Yeah.
you guys
Yeah.
involved in
Check
the
them out,
precision
Ian.
rifle stuff.
Yeah, EM Precision Rifles, EMPRifles.ca, I believe.
Yes, sir.
Check them out. Get all your shit from them. Say Gunning Around sent you. You're really helping the show out. Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
Stay deadly.
See you
Adios.
next week.
Got me a good gun. I really